living that all-wheel drive life though, son.
Top of the morning, guys. So today we're going to kind of do a walk around of the Civic. A lot of things have changed. Some people don't know about the car at all. Some people have lots of questions as what fuel setup we're running, why water to air, why AEF chassis, does the all-wheel drive matter, and explain some of the goods that the car does have, and answer some of these questions, hopefully all in one video. So that's what we're gonna do right now. Uncover her and then get to showing. From the outside, it is a 90 chassis. It does have the full 89 conversion, lights, bumpers, everything, moldings, rear bumper. The color is AMG silver. It has a carbon fiber hood made by Carbon Trends, the JDM style. Soul Creations wiper cowl delete that are wrapped in carbon. Real carbon mirrors. We're in the mix of making the side skirts and the rear lip, but it does have the front carbon lip as well. The wheels are CCW 16x9 with a 225/45 16 Toyo R1R on there. The brake setup is a Willwood 6-piston up front, 4-piston in the back, 12 by 12.19 rotors, and the back has 11 inches on there. The suspension, we're using GSR spindles in the front, so it gives me a 1/4 inch more on wheelbase on the front, and then it's full spherical, PCI, all done by me. Has Skunk 2 upper control arms, Skunk 2 ST full dampering suspension all the way around. The front is really tight and responsive, and I love it. So the rear is obviously all-wheel drive, so we're using the S1 Alpha 6 stainless arms with the Alpha, not the Alpha, the S1 toe camber, as well with the adjustable lower control arms that lets me bring in the wheelbase in the back, in or out as I please. It's mounted with Willwood big brake kit. This is the 11-inch rotor in the back and full spherical. So this thing responds like no other in the back for sure. The car does retain all factory windows, even the sunroof functional. Since we came out the hood, we closed the rear exhaust hole, so it does have a muffler delete on the rear bumper. Inside's a little tricky. Has all the original interior past the driver's seat, which is a carbon seat as well. The seat mount is actually an OEM seat bracket that I made, welded a plate to it, and the slider and everything is still functional. The kick plate is made by me, dimple dyed and folded. The reason for this is because we went with the pedal setup, and with the pedal setup, I needed to raise my feet up a little bit higher to get me more flatter on the IndyCar style seat position that I got going on. Down there we have the Magnus launch controller, which slips the clutch valve in first gear only, and anything from 0 to 25 miles an hour. Once we get outside of those parameters, it does not work at all. So right now we'll go ahead and explain the dash. And key is made by FLP parts along with the window cranks. So let's get this on. Turn the fuel pump off. Okay. So the pages are flippable here. That's my startup page, my freeway page, custom page I'm working on for my own design, and this is my like race page that I stay on. So if you pay close attention there to the boost, you can see me turn this knob. And basically what that does is change parameters of the boost on the fly, pretty much is wastegate. And then each 3 positions is a different launch control setting. And then the next 3, each 3 is the same, another launch control setting. Same again, then we're maxed out. The bezel that houses the CD7 made by AEM is made by me, full carbon, and we added these indicators that we found on Amazon. This one's important because I always kick this fan off, which is override, because we live in the cold places, so just sometimes I just don't need it at all. And then we have turn signals, we have headlights, e-brake, and we have the 4-wheel drive indicator. Pretty dope. This radio here was given to me by my boy, rest in peace, a long time ago. It's old school Jensen. It works, and it's just not coming out. It's just been here. It's gonna stay there. The car is wired on a PDM and AEM Infinity using the PDM 14 from Y-Wire with the full Y-Wire harness. Back here we have the Feel original cargo cover shirts that you guys can find on the website. I'll make sure to drop a link in the bio. So in the trunk is where we house the electric AC compressor. It is started and ready to rock as far as power is concerned. It just needs to be lined up and stuff. Fuel cell by Radium. It has a built-in surge tank that houses 3 pumps. So it has a total of 4 pumps, a lift pump, and 3 pumps in the surge tank. The lift pump lifts the fuel into the surge tank. One of the surge tank pumps runs at all times with the lift pump, and the second one kicks in after a certain amount of boost. The third one is just a spare. All this stuff was wired and designed by me. Past the fuel cell complementaries of Radium with the carbon lid. Water to air reservoir box, which we'll get into in a little bit. And all the relays and stuff that I built to house everything, all the power and everything for the fuel pumps. Right now we're gonna go ahead and pop the hood. So man, where do we start? The engine is a GSR, which is a B18 C1, and it is LS stroke. It has turbo tough LS rods, LS crank, Trom pistons, 11 to 1s. With today's fuel, I like to go a little bit higher on the compression side. Golden Eagle sleeves, copper O-ringed. Has a 4-layer factory head gasket with L19s, and the head is done by port flow. The head is actually was given to me from a buddy of mine, and so hopefully this head can stay on this car as long as possible. It has Ferrera valves, springs, retainers, stock ITR cams, Honda valve seals, and it has the Golden Eagle cam gears. One of them housed the T1 cam trigger with the T1 cam bracket that is custom to get out of the position from normally being right there. Uses a stock Honda OEM belt, which is made by Gates. It has a stock ITR water pump and stock ITR oil pump. I do not mess with oil pumps. I don't do the ACL thing. There's so much bootlegging and stuff going on. I've been like this forever. I've never had an issue, and we're gonna keep it that way. The turbo manifold is custom by Gonzo Motorsports. He builds a lot of Evos and stuff like that. We were having some issues with another manifold. I won't mention which one, but you know, high and dry, they left me. So Gons came through for your boy, built me this custom manifold, which houses a Garrett G-Series turbo, which is a G30. And if you know about these new turbos, they're twin seals, so they can handle some crazy heat. We do have the water lines hooked up as well with the oil lines. 60 mil Turbo Smart wastegate, custom up pipe with the merge collector into the dump. We are on water to air, so the piping is pretty short. It just goes right up under, comes up in, hits the ice box or the water to air intercooler, and hits in there. This is fed by a Mazir water pump, which houses a KX125 radiator for a heat exchanger, and an ice box in the back that I've never really had to use ice with, but the thing works pretty good. Number one reason why is EF chassis are so small and tight that it's really hard to get a good intercooler and get the cooling system down packed. And you know, fighting the two, this was a no-brainer. So now we're trying to work on the electric AC to get the water to pass through what they call a demon killer chiller. Basically, when the water passes through a core, the AC cools the core, and the water keeps circulating. It keeps it at a consistent cold temperature, which helps dramatically with some of the demons, the Hellcats, the Trackhawks, and you see how those guys can boost for a long time. So that's the goal. Right now, I can boost for a good 15, 20 pulls, at least 10 miles straight, and not have any heat issues as it is right now. So I could just imagine when that gets done. Radiator setup, we're using 2 spout fans on a Speed Factory radiator, which is tucked nice and tight, and there is nothing blocking it. Okay, there is nothing blocking it at all, so it has full flow. Those go up with dash 16s to the Speed Factory fill pot, which is necessary when you do a tucked radiator because of the position, how low the actual radiator sits, that it's really hard to fill and bleed. There's so much ARP hardware on this car, it is ridiculous. I have a problem with that, so excuse me, but they're everywhere, and we're still going. We are still going by the day, man. Up here, continuing on with the fuel system, the fuel tank comes up, feeds into a radium fuel filter. The filter comes in, pressurized sensor reads on the dash. That comes in, feeds 4 IDX series 1700s with the radium fuel rail, radium fuel damper. If you want to learn about these, go check out Radium's site, man. They explain this in very good detail. Radium fuel pressure regulator, and the the radium flex fuel sensor. Intake manifolds, nothing special, just a Skunk 2 Ultra, nothing ported or anything like that. So that's pretty basic on that. This catch can is built and designed by me. Me and my buddy Nader, which is B&N Designs. He is also the owner of Built to Apex. We designed this and built this here, along with a couple different parts that we build. Motor mounts are Hasport mounts, all-wheel drive mounts, of course, and the trans is a all-wheel drive CRV trans. This is a stock trans, and I've been blowing them up. I built a dog box with a Speed Factory case and you know, PPG gears and all that stuff. So we'll show that once we get the trans back from the tuner, which is my trans builder, and show you guys a little bit more detail about that when we get that. But as of right now, it's just stock trans made it to a comp triple disc. To feed all this power, we're using the Autotech Engineering alternator, which is a 360 amp alternator. It does run a stepper pulley, which is a smaller one, and ATI street damper, because with the race one, I couldn't get the idle voltages high enough. They would like to stay around 12 to 12.5, and this car now sits at like 14.1 consistently with a solid state, so it never moves. It houses a Optima battery in the fender, and that is ran through the Noco Genius, which is a battery tender that runs into the disconnect inside, and basically when you plug it up, it keeps the battery maintained and charged if you're going to park the car for a while. Speaking of doing that, with doing so, adding the fuel cell, we utilized the gas door, and we put the port for the plug there for the Noco. So I could just plug in right there, super easy, and let her charge up. This part's pretty tricky because everyone's like, how the heck is that hooked up? It is using the Hush Performance brake booster delete plate, and it's just a custom bracket that holds this, that's all, nothing else. There's no booster or nothing. It has 3 individual lines, 1 for the clutch, 2 for the brakes, 1 front, 1 back, and those are basically fed by 3 Willwoods that are attached to this comp brake floor mounted pedal setup. I love this setup. With EFs, you guys are known, you know, for breaking pedals, and I've been there so many times where I'm stuck and stranded on the side of the road because the pedal broke, or driving it home all the way in 5th gear because I'm stuck in 5th gear. Boy, does that suck. So we eliminated all that, and I'm actually going to change the setup to a firewall setup when I repaint the car, to get the pedals more in a stock position, and in terms of doing so, maybe scoot everything back up forward a little bit. So the pedal assembly works really great. Everything's super short throws to activate and engage. So clutch, I mean, it moves like that. And the gas is the same thing. I mean, there's not much to this. That's full throttle. So it works pretty good. This is just one of the steering wheels I like to use. I do have a couple steering wheels that I alternate. This one I won in a giveaway, and I love this one. This Italian leather is just so nice. The red stitching, the attention to detail is just immaculate, man. I love it. I love it. But this is the wheel I really like to use in it. It just fits it. It's always been there. I've had this for a while. It's my new addition. Carbon, full carbon with the aluminum bracing all inside. Has a aluminum rod, and the bracing is all aluminum as well. This is my kind of like junkyard wheel that I just get hands dirty and grab and go. I put this in the CRV. All these can just alternate from whatever. They're all housed on disconnects, so you just swap to pull them off and take them wherever. And this one I also won in a giveaway. This is Minority Personal. Love this thing too. Super soft, a little bit more rugged feel than the Italian, but still does the job. So the car is all-wheel drive. That is a wagon diff with the Quafey D-Series LSD in there, brand new bearings, and we are utilizing stock axles. I have a set of brand new DSSs, but I've never broke one of these to replace them, so why fix something that's not broken? The shaft is made by my boy Shaka Rob with 1310s, full custom, and as you see that straightness, we use the billet carrier bearings that I make, wagon viscous coupler, and custom mounts all the way to the front, and goes up to the front with 1310s. Still uses the factory slip joint setup, so pretty dope. This diff mount is custom. It is not made by anyone. So what we're gonna try to do is lift this diff up some, because if you see, I keep wearing axle boots out. So I wanna get this diff up a little bit higher, get everything a little bit higher. And with doing so, I should get a straighter angle of the axle. So S1 and the crew over there sent me a custom kit that I can fab up myself to get my custom placement of where my diff sits. And I could show you guys that real quick, actually. So this is my new diff that I'm putting up, which is Wavetrack rear LSD. Wavetrack rear LSD, and it has a Mishimoto magnet drain plugs, all powder coated, custom Speed Factory bolts. So now normally these come mounted to the S1, which gives you a fixed position of being dead center. But when you look at this diff, you can notice that the center of it is actually not the center where the nose of the drive shaft actually wants to be. So on a stock Honda, they slid these over to the driver's side more to give you a straighter angle. So that's what we did when we made the kit for the Civic. So basically S1 sent me over this kit that's non-fabbed up yet, and I can move this wherever I have my stuff set up already, so I can utilize the stock wagon lengths, which is the axles. They're stock length. They're not too long ones like most people use. And that gets me my drive shaft angle as straight as possible. And this is going to allow me to raise the diff up and get axle angle as straight as possible. The main reason for this video today was because today marks the 5 years that this long block has been put together in this car. It has over 40,000 plus miles. It has never seen under 500 horsepower. And the car is just a long-lasting machine, man. It's just a beast. I love B-Series. They're so simple. In an EF chassis, you don't need much, and with all-wheel drive, it helps you put the power to the floor. So, like I said, we're gonna close this out with